Today I'm going to talk the sure mode of the practice that can achieve one's intended goal and meditation. This sure mode of practice is called Apanaga Patipada by Buddha himself. Apanaga Patipada is a compound noun. Apanaga means sure and to the target without fail. Patipada means practice or the spiritual path. And a discourse named Apanaga Sutta, Buddha mentioned three important basic necessities of a serious and committed meditator. These three principles are the basic of all the spiritual development. Now, I would like to quote what Buddha had said in the discourse. Tihi bhikkhave dhammehi samanagado bhikkhu apanaga patipadam patipano hoti. Disciples, a meditator who has three conditions is on sure path of practice. Yoni sa arada hoti aswana khayaya. His practice, which can lead to even the highest state of eradication of poor mental states, can be successful if he properly stick to that practice. Kadamehiti, what are those three conditions? Now let me go where Buddha said. Okay. Ida bhikkhu bhikkhu Aindriyesu Kuddha Dvaro Hoti. Here in this world, a meditator keep his six doors secure. This is the first important condition required for a serious meditator who wants successful spiritual development. Now another condition Buddha said, quote, Bhajane Matenyu Hoti. The meditator knows the limit and proper moderation in consuming food. This is the second condition set by the Buddha. The third condition in the word of Buddha, let me quote, Jagriyam Anuyogdo Hoti. Meditators is fully engaged in maintaining diligent alertness by using his time of the day and night methodically. These are brief three conditions set by Buddha. Then Buddha went on to continue to explain these three conditions in detail. Let me quote what Buddha had said. Katanja bhikkhave bhikkhu Aindariyesu Gauda Dwaro Hodi. Disciples, hound and meditator, keep six sense doors secure and guarded. Buddha himself asked this question: how a meditator keep six sense doors secure and guarded? Buddha himself answered this question. Ida bhikkhve bhikkhu chakuna rupan desawa na nimeda gahi hoti na nu bhanjana gahi. Here in this world, the meditator, having seen the sights by means of the eye, he doesn't take any kind of figure. He doesn't go into the detail. What is that side? Either a dog, a male or female, whether that dog or what that female or male person is ugly or beautiful, how the body is structured, etc. He doesn't go into detail. He just only see and leave it as it is. And the seeing process. Yadva dikrana menam chakondriyam asam udam viharandam. Abheja domanasa bhavga agusla dhamma anusaveyo. In case a person forgot to get his eye in eye consciousness, the pleasures and abortion and other unwholesome mental states subsequently occur in the mind. Tassa samvaraya patibhajati. A meditator trying to prevent such a kind of subsequent unwholesome mental states from arising due to the seeing process. These are very simple explanations of the Buddha. Ragati chakondriyam. Chakondriya samvaram abhijati. The meditator thus guards his eye to he commit restraining procedure and seeing process. So now let me explain in detail so that you can understand what Buddha said. The purpose of spiritual development is to keep the restless mind calm and peaceful so that it becomes more concentrated and more powerful. In the beginning, this may be a challenging process for most people, including myself, because our consciousness is agitated and distracted and disturbed by objects. The object which comes in contact with our physical senses and mental capacity. Physical sense through the eye, through the ear, through the nose, through the tongue, and through the body, various points of the body, where the sensations can be felt and experienced. In this case, not all body parts have the capacity to experience sensation, such as the hairs and the nails. And if someone is suffering from the second disorder, which lost the sensation, such as local atrophy, eczema, and leprosy, etc. In such case, the sensation will not be experienced in certain parts of the body. So these are 5 physical sense faculties: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and the body. Number 6 is the mind itself. The mind is main point of reception of all objects. Even though the mind cannot directly see the signs, cannot directly hear the sound, cannot directly smell the smell, cannot taste the taste, cannot feel the sensation, but the mind is all too powerful to experience everything. That's why a lot of the memories and a lot of old experience come flashing back to the mind. So, as a fast explanation of the restraining of the visual sense, what I explain, when a meditator see the sights, he doesn't figure out any specific figure. He doesn't try to make sure what he sees, either an animal or a human being, etc. He just see it and then simply let go of that seeing. Like the way we used to neglect and ignore anyone we encounter on the metro bus, on the railways, when we travel great distance. We don't bother with what we see. We simply let go. A meditator's attitude should be like that. Don't go into detail. Seeing, be seen. Let seeing be seen. Any visual observation should be just casual. One should not go into detail of that side. This way, the ability to let go will develop. In very detailed instruction of mindfulness meditation, the teachers instruct the yogis to note when a meditator sees something, make a note, seeing. This is what it means. Let seeing be seen. Don't go into detail. This way, subsequent thoughts of pleasure and aversion, craving or anger will not arise. This way, it will prevent subsequent thoughts from arising, especially subsequent unwholesome thoughts and distraction from arising. Most people in the world, they keep their sense open. They don't have any guard, any safety guard on what they see. So their mind become more restless. One significant example is the use of the social media in today's time. Due to the advance of the science, in many fields. We have a lot of useful technical gadgets. A lot of people use social media today. Instead of properly using as necessary, some people misuse it or overuse it. They waste much time on watching it, seeing it, writing even comments. One will start noticing that the neck and the head areas, they start coming tensions, physical tensions of the neck and the head. And mental restlessness follow. If a person overuse this too much, he may even suffer when he go to bed. He cannot easily sleep. That person may suffer from some sleep disorder. I found some people who have this problem. They keep observing this social media all the night. This leads to long-term health problems, mental problems. This is only one example of the negative consequence which arise out of unrestrained use of those visual objects and getting involved into it too much. In other words, overusing and misusing such thing. Long-term impacts are very serious. The mind becomes more unstable. It got easily irritated and easily upset. And the ability of the mind to focus also become weaker. Later on, they will suffer emotional instability and mental suffering. They cannot go with the even slightest amount of the inconvenience. And this is how unrestrained use of the eye can lead to more suffering. In the same way, Buddha continued to explain regarding the sounds and ear. Here in this world, let me explain in English, not in Pali. Here in this world, a meditator, having heard the sounds through the ear, he doesn't go into the detail of what kind of sound it is, where it comes from, what are the nature and contents of the sound. He doesn't follow up the source of the sound. He doesn't investigate the content of the sound, who is coming, where it comes from, what kind of sound it is. Instead, he just contemplate on the ear. He just keep his mindfulness on the ear. He start focusing the sound waves coming in contact with the eardrum. He notes here and here and here and regardless of whatever sound he may come. He doesn't pay attention to the specific nature of the sound and the content of the sound, the source of the sound. So he just noted the sound. The sound come in the beginning. It may be a little bit disturbing, but later on, he can cope with that sound. For a meditator, the sound waves which come in normal frequency, in normal state of loudness, it's easy to meditate, but louder one may be a little bit difficult in the beginning. But later on, slowly, a meditator will be able to go with the sound. But in Buddhist text, it is clearly mentioned that the sound is the opposite of the samadhi, the great obstacle of the jhana. So the louder sounds are not wholesome and conducive for meditator, but in case one may have to live in a condition where the sound conditions are constant, one can train mindful observation of the hearing sound with a strong mindfulness without reacting with aversion. Most meditators, they feel aversion and anger at the sound they hear. So this is a training process of the mind. In today's time, meditator can use the earplug if the sound is intolerable. But for those in progressive state, the sound no longer Buddha. If for a meditator who have made great progress in meditation, they even cannot hear the sound of the clock striking and chiming. They don't even notice the time pass by. They can sit long hours, 1 hour, 2 or 3 hours, comfortably. In this case, deep concentration and the power of mind itself act as a buffer, insulation against the sound. It's very wonderful. In Buddhist text, Buddha himself in that deep state, when he is in that deep state of concentration, even the lightning and thunderclap sounds are no problem. So the human consciousness is the most powerful thing in the world. When it is trained very well and very systematically, it can overcome all the physical barriers and physical limitations. So what Buddha said is by when a meditator hear the sound, he should not go into detail, he should not figure out what kind of sound it is, etc. He should restrain the hearing process, not by means of earplug, but by means of mindful observation. Mindfulness itself will be the protective barrier against incidents of the negative reactions, such as displeasure, aversion, or anger, or craving or desire. This way, a meditator prevents unwholesome mental states from arising based on hearing. Now, Buddha continues to explain number 3 sense doors. Kanena gandan gayitua. Na nimete gayi hoti na nubensne gayi. Having smelled the odor through the nose, a meditator doesn't go into detail. Instead, he just noted with mindfulness. He doesn't investigate whether this sound, smell is good or bad. If that's a bad smell, he just noted. If the bad smell is disturbing, he just observed the mental reaction of aversion. And he just let go by being aware of the impermanent nature of the smell that comes along with the air flow. In case of the good smell, such as sweet and beautiful smell, fragrant smell, a meditator needs to observe with the impersonal, balanced mindfulness, smelling, smelling, smelling. Don't go into the nature of the smell. Just know the awareness of the smell. In my experience, I used to have a larger reaction whenever I smell moldy or fusty smell or some sort of bad smell. Then the itching sensation comes up in the throat, and itching sensation also start appearing in the nose canal. Then I notice it. And later, after many moments of observation, I can overcome. And the allergy stop. This is a very wonderful training. You can train, but in case of the very severe smell, if you are suffering from the very chronic condition, I don't want to encourage, but you just slowly try this. Meditation is very wonderful. When you smell something bad smell from the garbage heap or from somewhere unclean place, you also can apply mindfulness. It can neutralize. Mindfulness meditation is a very wonderful technique to deal with unpleasant smell or pleasant smell. This way, Buddha explained that by observing and protecting the smell with mindfulness, unwholesome mental states will be prevented from arising. Now, Buddha continued to explain regarding the tongue. Senwaya rasan Sayadaw. Nanimite gai hodi nanu benjane gai. A meditator, having tasted the food through the tongue, he doesn't go into detail. He just simply tastes it and then let go of it. Normally, this is very difficult for ordinary people, even for experienced meditator, unless they have practiced mindful eating intensively. Those who have practiced mindful eating during retreat, they can slowly, slowly overcome food craving and negative reaction to the poor quality food, or when they have good, delicious food, they will be able to observe strong desire over the food and the taste, and the wish to eat again and again until the stomach becomes full. This is a very wonderful training, which can have positive impact not only on our mind, but also on our physical health and long-term well-being. Buddha instructs us to eat mindfully, to practice mindful eating many years ago, nearly 3,000 years ago. His teachings are far ahead of the modern medical science. Even upon close inspection and intellectual analysis of the Thitzana Sutta, one will come to realize that all teachings mentioned and described in Thitzana Sutta discourse are very wonderful cognitive improvement in terms of the psychiatric medicine. They used to refer the term as the CVD, cognitive behavioral treatment. Most psychiatrists, they use this CVD to people who are suffering from mental disorder. Buddha used this perfect CVD not only for temporary, short-term peace and happiness, but also to promote long-term, lasting happiness and freedom from endless cycle of suffering. This is a really wonderful legacy of the Buddha. And this discourse, when a meditator tastes the taste through the tongue, he must use mindfulness. He must use mindfulness as a guide, as a preventive measure to prevent unwholesome mental states from arising in the mind. Now let me continue the fifth sense, the body. Kayena putavam putsaitwa. Na nimite gayi hodi na nu byanchane gayi. A meditator, having experienced the sensation through the tactile body points, he doesn't go into detail whether this is a bad or good sensation. Instead, he just keeps awareness of that sensation without reacting through application of mindful observation. This way, that meditator prevents unwholesome mental states from arising. All of meditators here in this retreat are following this principle. We don't need to close our eye. We don't need to close our ear and our physical senses. We just only need to use the mindfulness key, mindfulness guide, to observe them and to simply let go of them. Not to get involved into anything, not to go into detail, not to be reactive. This way we can maintain mental composure and mental balance. In the beginning, it seems impossible, but in the long-term practice, one can progress slowly and steadily. I'm just only briefly explaining in this what Buddha said in this discourse. Now, number 6. Manasa Dhamma Vinyaya Na Nimitta Gayi Hodi Na Nubhijana Gayi. A meditator, having aware of the mental objects by means of the mind, he doesn't go into the detail. Any specific detail, he doesn't care about it. He simply let go by noting as knowing, being aware of the mental object, being aware of mental objects. The noting mind, the object that comes to his mind are just on impermanence conditions, which are very similar to the air we breathe in, the air we breathe out. The air we breathe in, we breathe out is a natural phenomenon that is present in atmosphere. In the case of consciousness, it is present inside our physical body, this bodily shell, activated by constant pumping of the heart, constant action of the heart. As long as our hearts continue beating and our conscious flow will be active, like the electricity we use. As long as the turbines of electric power stations continues functioning, electricity supply will be in the cables and providing light and all the necessary convenience. In the same way, as long as our hearts continue beating, the conscious flow, which happens in a state of the flux, will be continuous and will supply us with awareness and a various kind of feelings. A meditator's mind need to be aware of that, to realize all these conditions on deeper level. Mindfulness is the pathway, is a spiritual tool applied by the Buddha, encouraged by the Buddha to use it, because he himself has used it to attain enlightenment. But we have to understand that the mind is like a very big, very powerful radio satellite dish, radio satellite antenna. It can accept every signal, not only from the surface of the earth, also from outer space. Our mind is very wonderful. Everybody is born gifted with this unique nature, gift of the consciousness. If a person can successfully train the mind, he will be a peaceful man, a happy man. His life will be a wonderful life. Buddha said, having known any mental object through the mind, one must be able to observe them with mindfulness, noted, knowing, that noting mind and the knowing object, the object that are known, are all impermanent. They don't exist in reality. They just exist on our spiritual level, on our psyche. And this way, a meditator restrain the mind. By restraining the mind, all unwholesome mental states, such as craving and abortion and subsequent unwholesome mental states will not follow and will not come up. Thus, a meditator restrain the six senses. This is what Buddha said. This way, a meditator keep six sense doors safe and secure by use of mindfulness observation, mindfulness. Now the second principle, Buddha continue to explain. Katenja bhikkhve bhikkhu bhojani mattinyu hoti. How a meditator knows the limit and eat in moderation. Ija bhikkhve bhikkhu patisankhayoni so aharam aharedi. Here in this world, a meditator consumes the food by having right attitudes, by having a positive reflection. What kind of positive attitude and positive reflection? What I'm going to explain in the following way. Neva Tawaya. I'm not eating this to indulge in it. Na madaya, not to grow arrogant. Na mandanaya, I mean not eating to beautify my body. Na vibhusnaya, I mean not eating this food to make myself handsome and pretty. Yawa deva imasa gayada tidiya. I mean eating this food only for the purpose of existing in this very life. Yapnaya, to prolong my lifetime up to the livable term. Vihe suparatiya, to overcome hunger-related suffering. This is very important. Vihe uparatiya, I mean eating this food to overcome hunger and hunger-related discomfort. Brahmacharya Nukhaya, I am eating this food for the promotion of my wholesome deeds and wholesome actions in life. Very wonderful objective of eating. Iti puranisa virana patihangami. Thus, by eating, I will be able to remove my previous pain, such as hunger and the need for nutrients. Nawanja virana na upadisami. I will not cause new and unnecessary sickness and pains arising from irresponsible indulgent eating. Yadraja me bhavasati. Thus, my life will go on by having necessary nutrients. Anavajadaja. Thus, my eating is very wholesome. Pasuviyarocha. Thus, I can live this present life in peace. These are the way a meditator reflects on eating. Ewanko bhikkhve bhikkhu bhojane matten yuhoti. This way, a meditator set the limits and know the limits in eating. Now let me explain a little bit further regarding this second important practice, what Buddha said. Buddha said, we need to eat, everyone need to eat. Not only human beings, every living being need to eat. That's why they have to wake up and look for the food. Because without food, this physical body and physical life cannot exist. But the most people, they don't know the purpose of eating. They just only know the purpose of eating is they are hungry and they want to eat. If the food is good, they keep eating. And they keep eating and they got problems out of overeating or excessive unhealthy eating, improper eating. Eating is the main ritual we have to perform every day. The moment we wake up, we have to think about it. So every person need to eat, but Buddha instructs to have the right attitudes and the right wisdom and eating, so that one can make proper eating, wise eating in moderation. The purpose of food is to provide nutrients to this body. The purpose of meditation, the purpose of listening to Dhamma is to provide spiritual nutrients and spiritual nourishments. When a person has the right attitudes toward the eating, he will be a very responsible eater. He will also be a healthy eater. Very good. Not only that, it can lead to a lot of positive results out of this mindful eating based on mindfulness and wisdom. Buddha is very wonderful and instructing us to have the right attitudes and wisdom in consuming food. He asks us to be responsible eater, moderate eater, so that one can live life healthily and to the full term of one's life. Most health problems are usually originated in improper eating. Eating of improper and unhealthy food, eating excessively, eating at the improper time. We have seen a lot of people who are suffering from all health problems, from irresponsible, unwise eating. The purpose of eating in this explanation is very clear. Buddha himself said, Yawa Deva Imanda Kada Tidiya. Just only to exist. Shabnaya to prolong, so that one can live to the full term of life. Wensupardiya, to overcome hunger and hunger-related pain. Chamadriya Nogaya, to do good deeds. To do good deeds to benefit oneself and to benefit others. These are the main purpose. And other purpose to avoid, not to indulge, not to be arrogant, not to beautify. These are very simple and clear. If we can follow the mindful eating based on wisdom and responsibility to oneself, then that person will be not only a good meditator, he will also be a good, healthy person who live life joyously and peacefully. Now let me explain number 3 mode of practice, sure practice for success in one's practice. Katenja Bhikkhve Bhikkhu Jagriya Nuyokto Hoti. How a meditator maintains alertness and diligence. Ida Bhikkhve Bhikkhu Diwasam Chingamena Nisijaya Avaraniye Dame Chaitam Prisodedi. Here in this world, meditator prevents mental pollutants and mental clouds from arising by means of walking meditation, sitting meditation, alternately in the daytime. Very simple and clear. In the daytime, a meditator needs to practice not only sitting meditation, but also walking meditation alternately, so that he can remove bodily tensions, he can stretch himself up and relax. And the body will be okay, will be ready for meditation. When a meditator is doing sitting and walking meditation alternately, the main purpose is to prevent mental pollutants which serve as main obstacles from arising. Now, Buddha continued to explain, Radiya Patamayamam Chengamena Nisijaya Avaraniye Dame Chaitam Prisoredi. In the same way, at the first portion of the night time, the meditator also practiced sitting and walking meditation alternately, so that a meditator can prevent mental pollutants from arising in the mind. So Buddha explained a meditator need to practice meditation in the first portion of the night, maybe up to 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in today's mechanical clock. And after the first portion of the night, Buddha instruct how to do. Radiya Mijimayama Dakinina Basena Siha Seyam Gapedi Badi Badan Ijadaya. At the second portion of the night, a meditator go to bed, being mindful, being alert, with the notion that he is going to get up early in the morning. So a meditator must go to bed. And the second portion of the night, at the middle of the night, from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, he should sleep, because the body needs rest. So when a meditator is going to bed, he should go to bed mindfully. I hope you are already instructed how to go to bed with mindfulness. Mindfulness sleeping is also very wonderful training. If you apply mindfulness sleeping in your daily life, you will not need to reach for sleep aid drugs. You can use mindfulness as a sleep aid, which can lose your mind to sleep. Sleep will come to you. You don't need to go to sleep. If you practice mindful sleeping while you lie down on your bed. Radiya Pichimaya Mam Pisotaya Chingmena Nisijaya Avaraniye Dame Chaitam Prisodidi. And the last part of the night, let's say the last part of the night in today's time is about 4 o'clock, because the darkness is still there. So it can be said, these are the last portion of the night, although it is early morning, wee hours. So a meditator get up early, 4 o'clock or 4:30, depending on his schedule. Once he wake up, he just wake up with mindfulness. The moment the knowing mind arises, he just note, knowing. And he just note the intention to sit, and he sit. Then intention to get up come, then note it, intention to get up. Then he stand up slowly, then may go to bathroom, to wash up, to dress up, to clean up, and do everything mindfully, noting every small acts. This way, keeping mindfulness at all times, maintaining consistent and uninterrupted mindfulness. If a person can maintain such uninterrupted mindfulness, he will make progress within a very short time frame. So the purpose of maintaining such kind of diligent alertness is to prevent part of hindrance, the obstacles from arising in the mind. Most of you may be familiar with the 5 hindrances: Kamicchanda Nirvana, sensual desire; Vyavara Nirvana, aversion or anger; Tinameda Nirvana, sloth and torpor; Bodhija Kukuja, restlessness and guilt; Uchikeja, doubt. But for most meditators, only sloth and torpor sometimes, or aversion, or mental restlessness may be predominant. A meditator doesn't need to intentionally block, intentionally prevent those 5 hindrances. Mindfulness itself is protective barrier, protective mental barrier. Every moment you keep your mindful noting, these obstacles will stay away. But the moment you have the Ayoniso Manasikara, round attitude, improper mental state, one of those obstacles may arise, such as aversion or boredom. Boredom is also a form of aversion. Most people, they don't know boredom. What's boredom? Boredom is the mind's inability to continue doing certain thing. A resistant mind, always full of the different characteristics. Protesting mind, resistant mind, complaining mind, and wandering mind. Wandering mind is just only uddhacca. You don't need to intentionally catch wandering thoughts. You simply note, because there's no way to restrain the mind. The mind is an immaterial state of energy. And in order to control and to cleanse immaterial mind, you have to use immaterial mind. Mind itself is mental purification agent. Mind itself is protective barrier of the unwholesome mental states. In this case, the mind is not ordinary mind. It is a very wonderful mind known as wholesome mindfulness. This mindfulness is very wholesome mental quality. If a meditator can maintain this mindfulness, the mind will be infused with the wholesome mental flow. On the long-term process, this will create wonderful patterns of the mind. A person will start seeing spark of life, very wonderful spark of light, because the mind is full of sparkle. Normally, we don't know. We cannot see it. Our mind is so wonderful that it is very much interesting to see it, to know it. During meditation, you will see face to face with your own boss. Your own boss means, in this case, your mind. Your so-called your spirit and your consciousness. It is a very hyperactive, so fast energy, full of sparkle. At the same time, if the mind is live untrained, it will become dirty and contaminated. So, mental training is very interesting process. Buddha discovered this spiritual path known as mindfulness meditation as a pathway to enlightenment, as a pathway to make one's mind and one's consciousness stable and unagitated. In the face of suffering, a meditator's mind will remain strong and will remain stable, unshaken and undisturbed by commoners, the way commoners do. Most commoners who never know a meditation, they will behave very badly and very sadly. Whenever they have to go through bad situation, when they have to go through good situation, they thought all these things will remain forever. They grew arrogant and conceited. So a meditator's mind is very wonderful mind. In the course of this retreat, we must reflect and remind ourselves of what Buddha has said regarding these three principles: restraining of the 1/6 senses, and eating and consuming food, and moderation, and maintaining diligent alertness and mindfulness, and day and night as long as one's awake. And if you can follow these three important principles of sure practice and your meditation will be very wonderful and successful. May you achieve your spiritual purity and spiritual enlightenment so that you can deal with the daily suffering, you can overcome suffering in the journey of life.